I'll just start by introducing myself again. As I said earlier, my name is Toyo Silabeodon. I'm a principal immigration consultant at TrueLink Immigration Services. And today we're going to be talking to you on the strategies you can use to score a band 9 in high Ielts, especially as it relates to Canada immigration. Before I go on further, I would like to talk briefly about TrueLink Immigration Services Limited. TrueLink Immigration Services Limited is a Canadian immigration firm that has its head office in Canada. We actually have a head office in Edmonton. It's at number 3, 9816 47 Avenue, Northwest Edmonton. And we have a branch office in Nigeria. It's in Ibadan, number 34A, Ladoke Akintola, New Bodija, Ibadan. TrueLink was actually created, or it was established to assist you to make Canada your home. It was created and established to assist you and help you start a new life of opportunity in Canada. And if you're already in Canada and you want to remain in Canada, you can be assured that we are the TrueLink that you need to help you ensure that you remain in Canada. So if you need any help as it relates to Canada immigration, sponsorship, anything that has to do with visa to Canada or thereabout, we are the TrueLink that you can actually use to achieve that goal. So let's go on to the topic for today. The topic for today is strategies that you can use to score a band 9 in high Ielts, especially as it relates to Canada immigration. I want to be sure that many of us know the meaning of high Ielts, but for those that do not know, high Ielts is International English Language Testing System. That's the meaning, and it's actually one of the tests that you can use that is commonly used around the world to assess people's knowledge of English. Ielts test is commonly used for those that want to study, those that want to work, and also those that want to migrate to countries like Canada, Australia, even UK, and many other countries. The Ielts exam can be paper-based or computer-based. In some countries, you have only paper-based. In other countries, you have only computer-based. And in some other countries, you have both of them. So you need to understand the type of exam you are doing so that you would understand how to go about it. And there are actually different types. We have the academic, we have the general, we have the UKVI. There are different types. But in this regard, in terms of Canada migration, the one that bothers us or that concerns us is the Ielts general exam. This is because for migration purposes, what is required by the government of Canada is that you sit for the general exam of Ielts. A lot of clients have come to me in the past, and when I reviewed their Ielts results, I saw that many of them have done academic exam. The academic cannot be used for Canada migration, but if you want to go and school in Canada, possibly maybe you want to go and do an MSc program or a PhD program, you might be able to use the academic for that. The Ielts exam has 4 components. It has the listening, the reading, the writing, and the speaking component. These are the 4 components of the exam that you are going to be assessed on. So what are the things that you need to do to possibly get a band 9? Band 9 is a very high score. I'm aware of that. And I'm sure many of us are also aware of that. But it's possible. I'll give you an example. For those that want to migrate to Canada, the higher the score you have, the better. Especially for those that want to come in through the federal skilled program. The higher the score you have, the better. So someone that has a band 9 is likely going to be more eligible than someone that has a band 8. Likewise, someone that has a band 8 is likely going to be more eligible than someone that has a band 7. Even though the minimum that you need may not be band 9, but it's always better to aim to get the highest mark that you can actually obtain. So what are you supposed to do to ensure that you get a band 9? The first tip that I want to talk about is you need to understand the test format. You need to understand that the test has 4 categories, 4 components, listening, reading, writing, and speaking. And how do you do the exam? For those that have done the exam previously, you know that the first one you do is the listening. How many minutes does it take? The next one that you do is the reading. And the third one that you do is writing. Your speaking can be on the same day, or it could be few days before your exam, or few days after your exam. But you know that the first three, which is listening, reading, and writing, they follow each other. And there's no time in between for you to start doing anything. As soon as you are done with one, you must move to the next. So if you don't understand the test format before going for the exam, you're not likely going to be able to score a band 9. You should understand the format of the tests. When you understand the format of the test, this helps you to prepare. The next tip I want to talk about is practice. And I will repeat this 3 times. Practice, practice, practice. What do I mean by this? It means you doing the tests many times before you go for the exam. I've had many clients come to me and they tell me, oh, I'm ready for the higher test exam. I want to go and I want to register for the exam next week. And I ask them, have you practiced? They say yes. Okay. How many practice questions have you done? They'll tell me like 3 or 4. That is not likely going to get you the result that you want. And that's why I said practice, practice, practice. You can go online and get so many practice materials. The more you practice, the better you become. The better you understand the test format, the better you understand the test itself. And if you are very lucky, you might be lucky that one day, maybe what you have practiced, if you have done so many practices, it's possible that one of the things that you did, or something similar to what you have done, will come out. The more you practice, the more you understand how the test works. So it's actually good that you practice a lot before the exam. Do lots of practice exams before you go for the exam. The next tip that is also very linked to practice is what I call timed practice. When you are practicing, normally when you are practicing, you have all the time to yourself. You can decide to finish the speaking, or it's difficult to finish speaking in more than 40 minutes. It's difficult to finish the speaking, the listening test longer than the time, because if you are doing a real listening exam, it's already time. But the reading exam, you can actually finish it much longer. The exam is supposed to take 1 hour. You can try to spend like 2 hours on that. The writing too should be 1 hour. You can decide to spend longer than that. But when I say time practice, you should time yourself as if you're actually doing the real exam and try to work with the time of the exam. So if you know that the reading test in the exam takes 1 hour, then it's good that you time yourself and ensure that you do the reading exam while you're practicing within 1 hour, simulating the exam condition. So if you have practiced earlier on, you also need to do what I call timed practice. This will actually help you assess yourself to see whether you can actually do the exam and do the exam within the time that's allocated to you for the exam. The next tip I'm going to talk to you about is you are actually expected, and it's good that you try to improve your language skills. How do you do this? By watching English news, by writing, by reading newspapers, and so many other things. You need to make a conscious effort to read news, English news. I won't advise you go and read local news, maybe your Yoruba newspaper, or your Igbo newspaper, or your dialect newspaper. No, read English-related news. Watch English stations. Look at how they communicate. Try and follow them. Look at how they construct sentences. If you actually make a conscious effort to do this, the chances are that by the time you are going for the exam, you will score a band 9. It's possible. So next thing I'm going to tell you about or talk to you about is you are also expected to practice with sample test questions. There are so many practice questions that are online that you can access on YouTube. A lot of online materials are available that you can actually practice with. If you are able to do this before the exam, it goes a long way in helping to prepare you very well and helping you to prepare very well to score a band 9. Because I've said earlier on that the higher your score, the better your chances of getting an invite. So the other thing that you need to do is also the other tip I want to talk about is you need to get your writing and speaking skills assessed. I've spoken to many people, and when I asked them how did you practice writing, they tell me they read it. I went through a lot of practice questions on writing. I read a lot. I saw how they answered those questions and liked of them. I disagree with you. If you want to practice writing, you cannot practice writing by reading. You must practice writing by writing. Even speaking, you must practice speaking by speaking. It's not about you just reading and understand how it works. No, you need to write things down. Write using the format that you have learned. You need to speak. It's good. Yeah, definitely you're going to read first so that you understand how to go about it. After you have read it, you need to write and you need to speak. So do not practice writing by reading. You are not likely going to get the right mark. It's good to practice writing by writing. So after you have read, get sheet of papers, write out those things. Write out some of those topics. Get topics, possible topics that they could ask you. Write them out. Write them and get someone to assess you. It's always better. It's not very likely you will be able to assess your writing skills, speaking skills. But if you call a third party who may be knowledgeable or at least a bit better than you to help you correct what you have done, that may go a long way in helping you to get the right score and possibly get a band 9 in the high Ielts exam. And for those that feel they can't practice alone, the next tip I want to talk about is you are encouraged to attend an high Ielts preparatory course. There are so many courses online that you can take. There are so many courses offline too. I'm sure in your neighborhood, if you look around, you will see some organizations or some companies that offer high Ielts training or English language proficiency training. You can go there and attend a preparatory course. At that course, they will be able to guide you, train you, and teach you what you need to know. This can also go a long way in helping you achieve a band 9 in the exam. The next tip I would like to talk about is that you must have a study plan. I've spoken to a lot of people about their preparation for the exam, and I'm surprised. They tell me, some come to me and tell me they're in the exam next week. And I ask them, how long have you practiced? They will start today. And I'm like, oh, you just have 5 days to practice and go for the exam? I said, yes. Well, most times that does not always work. You should have a study plan. And what do I mean by a study plan? If you want to do that, if you want to really do well in the exam, I suggest that you should have minimum of a 1 month plan. Daily practice every day for 1 month. And for those that, so a few people might require more than that. Your own plan could be 2 to 3 month plan. The most important thing is that every day, do something on it. Every day, do something on it. Have a study plan. If you have a study plan, the chances that you are going to get a band 9 is very high. But you trying to do a crash program like 5 days program, and saying you just read everything in 5 days, it may not work. I know we all have different strengths. Some people are good in things like that, but most people are not. So what you need to do is come up with a plan. Is it 1 hour per day that you want to do every day for the next 2 months? Is it 2 hours per day that you want to do for the next 2 months? You might need to stop some of the things you are doing. Some of the extra activities that you do that could take your time, you might need to stop that. So you might need to create a time. It could be like, oh, maybe you get home at 6 p.m. or 7 p.m. You decide that from 9 to 11 p.m. every day, because you are busy type, you have to create time. You want to create time so that 2 hours is dedicated to high Ielts. If you make a study plan like that, the chances that you will score very high and possibly get a band 9 is very high. But when you don't have a plan, that today, well, I mean, if you have a 1 month, maybe you don't have a plan, you're like, in a week, you may just practice for 1 day, maybe 1 hour in a day. Next week again, you do 30 minutes a day. The likelihood that you will not get a band 9 is very high. But if you have a study plan, and you work at it, put it into your study plan should be detailed. Put a plan in place and be disciplined to follow the plan, because it's nothing to actually have a plan It's another thing to actually become disciplined to follow through with a plan. So put a plan in place and ensure that you follow through. That will actually assist you to get the scores that we're talking about. It's also very good to start your preparation very early, and apart from that, it's good to be consistent. I said it earlier on, have a study plan. If you have a 1 month study plan, be consistent. If it's 2 hours you plan to do every day, be consistent. I tell a lot of people that say, if once you sit down, have a study plan, you are consistent in what you have planned, you do it consistently every day as you have made the plan. If you do it well and you get it right once, you will not have to do it again. But if you just do a shorty job and you keep doing shorty job all the time, you will write the exam 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 times. So for those that have done the exam many times, one of the things you need to do is have a plan. It could be a 3-month plan. Some may even be a 5-month plan. It depends on your strength. It depends on your strengths and weaknesses. You know your strengths and weaknesses. Work out a study plan. Be consistent with what you are doing. And if you follow that plan every day for the period that you have planned, I can assure you that you will get a band 9 in Ielts. It's also good that you actually take every opportunity you have to communicate in English, both orally and in writing. So if you have friends around you or you're going for a meeting, instead of you communicating in your local language, ensure that you communicate in English. This will go a long way in helping to improve your English skills. And because you are making a conscious effort on this, it will actually help you and possibly get a band 9. One other strategy that you can actually use is you also need to enrich your vocabulary on a daily basis. My suggestion for this is that you should aim to learn at least 10 new words on a daily basis during the period while you are preparing for the exam. Try to learn 10 new words daily. This will actually help to enrich your vocabulary. And if your vocabulary is enriched, it will actually improve your writing skills. And that goes a long way in helping you to get the score that we're talking about. I said earlier that one of the things you can do to also improve this is listen to news and watch documentaries on various topics in English language. If you do this also, it will also help to improve your language proficiency and possibly make you score a band 9 in Ielts. The next strategy I want to talk about is that it's good that you also start the preparation by first doing a diagnosis test. What do I mean by this? There are many tests online. Assess yourself. Do the listening exam, do the reading exam, do the writing tests. Try speaking also. Assess yourself. When you see what you have on the baseline, at least that will give you an idea. It's not, well, I won't say you should just do only one test. You can do 3 or 4 tests where you can now check the average of your scores in each category. This will give you an idea of where you are good and where you are a bit weak. So when you diagnose your strengths and weaknesses from the beginning, you know which part of the test that you need to put in more efforts. So for example, if you score a very high mark in listening and you score very low mark in reading, you know that you need to place more emphasis on reading than on listening. Not that you will not practice listening. No, if you do that, you may fail the listening exam, or you may score a very low mark in the listening exam. The funny thing about the exam is there are scores that you must have, and I will talk briefly about that once I'm done with this. There are scores that you must have. So if you do well in one part and don't do well in the other part, it could affect you in a way. It's not about the average score. That my average bar score is 7.5, my average bar score is 6. No, the individual score that you have in each component is very important. So start by taking a diagnosis test. After you have done that, you'd have used that to assess your strengths and weaknesses. You now know which area you are good at and which area you are weak at. Then you can spend more time on the area that you are weak. That will go a long way in helping you get a band 9. Then towards the end of your practice, maybe when you have done, if you have a 1 month plan, by the 3rd week, make sure you start doing standard exams. Yeah, do standard exams. These exams are actually full-length exams, and they're actually under realistic conditions. You mimic the conditions of the exam. Do it so that you can actually have a feel of what the exam looks like, and this will also help you prepare very well for the exam. The last tip I'm going to talk about is it's also good that you know how the test is marked. what are the examiners looking for. If you know what the examiner is looking for, you will know what you should give to them. But when you don't know what they are looking for, you just answer it anyhow, and you will not get the right mark. What are they looking for? Especially in the writing exams. What are they looking for? If you know what they are looking for and you give it to them, the chances are that you get the right mark. So know how the test is being marked and work towards that by ensuring that you give them, especially when it comes to writing, you write and give them what they want, and definitely they are also likely going to give you the mark that you also want. Now, I was talking earlier on about the score that you should have. When you are going to Canada migration, it's better that you have a minimum of 8 in listening and a minimum of 7 in writing, reading, and speaking. That's my own recommended mark. Even though the minimum mark recommended by IHRCC is much lower than that. But right now, Migration Canada is becoming more competitive. So it's better for you to aim to score the highest mark that you can score. So if you can even score a 999, better. But if you cannot, the minimum you should aim for is an 8 in listening and a 7 in speaking, writing, and reading. This would actually give you a higher chance of getting a federal invite if you actually have that. When you're talking about, there are so many other programs that require lower scores actually, so it's not as if, that's why I said for the federal skilled worker program, if you want to migrate to that, it's always better to have a higher score. When you are using provincial nomination, or you are using caregiver program, or you are using self-employed programs, the requirements are actually much lower. In fact, there are some programs that take as low as CLB5, which is if you have a 4 in reading and 5 in all others, you can apply to those programs. That's summary of this course and advice on this course that you should have. Now, in TrueLink Immigration Services, how do we help our clients? What do we do for you in this regard? We are bothered about our clients. We want our clients to get the right score in high Ielts or any of the English proficiency exams. So there are things that we do just to help our clients get the results that they want. I'm saying it again, that there are things that we do to assist our clients get the result that they want. So what do? The first thing that we do is we assess your skill. We assess you first. We want to know your strengths and weaknesses. Which area are you good at? Which area are you weak at? This will help us to guide you and help work on your weaknesses while still maintaining your strengths. So one of the things we first do is we'll assess you to ensure that we know your strengths and weaknesses. The other thing that we'll do is we'll actually help you also become familiar with the tests, the test formats. We'll teach you and show you this is what this test entails. When you understand the test format, it makes it easier for you to do very well in the exam. Another thing that we'll do is we'll actually help you with the 30-day free training. We'll train you for 30 days, give you materials that you can use for 30 days that you can use to practice. And you have someone, if you have questions on all that, we have someone that will guide you on all that. Another thing that we also do is we give you links that will actually assist you to assess your writing skills. Many people write, but they don't know how to assess it. But we have links that you will send those things to, what you have written to, and when you send it to them, they will assess it and tell you your score. So you have an idea of what score you should have, or what you wrote it will likely be if you're writing the real exam. So these are some of the things we do. Apart from that, we also teach you the rules and regulations that guide each category of the test. When you know the rules and regulations that guide each of the components of the test, the likelihood that you do very well in the exam is high. Unlike when you don't know the rules and you just go into the exam to go and, in fact, some people go into the exam and the exam is their practice. What do I mean by that? When they enter the exam, well, that's when they understand, oh, this is how this exam is like. That's not good. That's not likely going to give you the band 9. You're not likely going to have that. So we also send you materials for practice. Yeah. We send you materials. We have helped a lot of people migrate to Canada. We actually have an idea of the kind of materials that you should use. We know the materials that are good. We know the ones that will help you improve your skills faster. So we give you all these things so that you can actually go and use them to practice. Then we also enroll you in our Ielts training school. We have a training school where we can train you and help you improve on your weaknesses while still maintaining your strength in whatever areas you have strength. Then we follow you up. We follow you up to ensure that you are doing what you should do. This is very important because we realize that a lot of people have those things that they should do, but they're not doing them. So we follow you up. And we not only follow you up, we push you. We push you to ensure that you do what you ought to do. We will try to ensure that you do it by following you up and ensuring that what you ought to do, you are doing it. So if you need more information on this, I would actually encourage you to go to our website. You can check us up on our website, www.truelinktravel.com. You can also follow us on our YouTube channel, True Link Travel. There are lots of materials on immigration on our website and on our YouTube channel. If you follow us on these platforms, you will actually you have access to all this information, and when you go through them, they can actually help you, especially in your journey to migrate to Canada. You can also follow us on our Facebook and Instagram handle, that's @TrueLinkTravel. If you follow us on those channels too, you will actually get regular updates on all our seminars and programs, and you would get first-hand information about all the other programs that we are doing. So as I said earlier, our website is www.truelinktravel.com. The true does not have an E. TrueLinkTravel.com, TrueLinkTravel.com. That's our website, and our YouTube channel is True Link Travel. You can like us on YouTube and follow us so that you can get regular updates. Thank you for listening.